Right, thank you. Well, thank you, Joanne Roberts, for agreeing this interview. Just to say, the life in the Lionesses and your involvement in women in rugby league, and particularly the Lionesses tours. And I know you toured in 1996, but also Wakefield born, playing for Wakefield Panthers, mostly a second row prop. And actually representing your country in that first tour to Australia in 1996. So thank you very much for being interviewed and just telling us a bit more about your journey in rugby league and what you've done. So where I want to start was really, how did you get involved in rugby league and in rugby league, playing rugby league?
Well, I was very much a novice. I'd only ever seen one game of rugby league before, and that was the cast match in 1986 at Wembley. My mum and dad took me to that, and I just thought, this is quite good, this. I could get into it. But I was playing football at the time, and I saw the girls training, and I thought, I'd like to have a go. And that was it. Changed from football to rugby league. Didn't know the rules, didn't know if I was a forward or a back. Yeah.
So what year would that have been, Jo?
1990.
1990.
Yeah, I was 18 years old.
Ah, right. So a convert from football, which is even better, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you first, what was it like then playing for the Wakefield Panthers?
They were awesome. It was just a delight to go week in, week out, playing with these great teammates who inspired me, that made you want to be better and just better yourself all the time. It was just incredible.
Yeah. Tell me a bit more about your memories with Wakefield Panthers and those days, because obviously they were an invincible team, weren't they?
They were, yeah. It was quite incredible, really. I mean, from the training sessions, I'd never done anything like it before in my life. Bleep test was a total new thing, like from a different planet. The training was very tough. But we had a coach that was ex-rugby league player, Martin Ward, and he was brilliant. So he had all the equipment because he worked for Wakefield Council. So he could get all the minibus, tackle bags, all that kind of thing. So we had really good training from the off, and that put us in good stead, really. And we just had a great team spirit.
Yeah. So what was it like to be called up for that first tour, that first tour to Australia in 1996? How did that come about?
Oh, wow. That was incredible. First of all, I didn't believe it because I thought there were so many others that could have gone before me. But I was lucky. I was called up for it. But saying I was proud and my family was proud is a total understatement. I was just this young girl from Wakefield that had been called up to play for a country, and there's no greater honour. It was brilliant.
And tell me a bit about that call and what you had to do to be part of the squad. Well, it's not just a squad, but first there was a train-on squad, wasn't there? And then getting into the squad and then actually getting out to Australia.
Well, the fitness levels were different, as you can imagine. So playing on the next level up is a massive leap, which nobody had ever prepared us for. But there was that, plus all the fundraising that we had to do, which you never expected that you'd have to pay for your own airfare when you're touring, buy your own food and everything else. It was just incredible what you had to learn in such a short space of time. And it was great, fantastic experience, but it wasn't a walkover. it was hard work. But
tell us a bit more about the fundraising that you had to do.
Well, the fundraising, we had to raise something around £630 for the flight to start off with. And it didn't matter how, you could be the best person on the team. If you didn't raise that flight money, you didn't go. It was as simple as that, because there was no funding available for us all to go. So we had to get the £650, I think it was. And then it was getting 3 weeks off work, which my boss kindly sponsored me, which meant I could have the 3 weeks off and he would pay me for the 3 weeks, or else that was something else I wouldn't have been able to go. And then it was just raising the funds for your money over there, food, because literally you had to pay for everything.
Yeah.
Just boardings, that you got, which we weren't expecting what we did get. Some people were in a hotel, some people in a house, just training facilities and things like that. It's as if there wasn't the money in the pot to do it properly. But I suppose when you're the first people doing it, you just suck it and see, don't you?
Yeah. So had you ever been to Australia before or anything, or travelled, or?
No, never been to Australia. It's my first. It's a long flight, a very long flight. But I mean, I think we flew to Bombay first, which it's not even Bombay anymore. And then through to Singapore and then down to Australia, which just the flights alone, they were just incredible. You'd never experienced anything like it in your life before. It was a real eye-opener. And the first time everybody found out jet lag doesn't exist. It's not just a thing.
So tell me about when you landed in Australia. What then happened from there on?
Well, security first of all stopped and searched the bags, and one of the girls lost her boots because they had mud on them, so they had to bin them.
Oh wow!
Yeah, there were a couple of suitcases that had been bust open. So yeah, great start. But yeah, then we got to Sydney. Some people were in a hotel. Some of us were in a house around the corner from the hotel. And it was just a different experience to any other that you could ever imagine. But you always thought it'd be more professional than it was. Mm-hmm. That someone had sought everything out for you, but it was just get along with it.
Yeah. So what was the most challenging then, Jo? What's the most challenging part of
it? I think the fundraising and the fitness level for me, that was a challenge. I mean, I've been into sport most of my life. I did judo for 8 years, so I had quite a decent background of keeping fit and that, but this were a different level, totally different level. But when you've got a ball in your hands, you can tend to run for 80 minutes. But if you ask me to run 100 yards now, not without a ball.
Yeah.
Really can't do it.
So what did you enjoy the most? What's your fondest memories of that 1996 tour?
Oh, the final whistle. Oh, well, I have a couple actually. Playing in Brisbane, I had probably 2 or 3 Australians on my back carrying the ball over the line. And then I just looked up and saw your face and pointing to the floor and awarding me a try. That is one of my favourite moments of the tour, to be perfectly honest.
Scoring the try, not seeing my face.
It was that whistle blowing when you've got over the line. There's no way I was going to pass that ball. No way at all.
Yeah.
Which I did get shouted at, but I did get across, so it was okay. But we did have a couple of days off when we were there. Went to the Gold Coast, did a bit of sunbathing, which was very rare to have any time off at all. You know, it was always up at 6:30 for breakfast, training, ready for training at 8 o'clock. Not getting back while lunchtime, grab some lunch, and then on to something else for the day. It was a thoroughly enjoyable experience, really. But I can say that in the 3 weeks that we were there, I actually lost half a stone. You know, it was full on for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But then obviously when it come to the final, I missed the first test match. We all went bowling the night before, and I got a bit of a knee strain bowling. So I missed the first test match. But I played in the other 2. And the final whistle, it was, I'd just come off as a sub. And I took my boots off and said, that's me done. I'd left everything out on the pitch. There's nothing else left in me whatsoever. And just waiting for them last couple of minutes for that whistle to blow. That was just incredible.
Oh, wow. And what was it like then? Because obviously this tour was the last time any Great Britain, male or female, beat the Australians in a test match. Yeah, in a 3 test match, Australia in a test match. So what did it feel like to beat the Australians 2-0, 2-1, should I say?
Incredible. Nobody gave us a chance. So to actually get there to start off with was an achievement in itself. And then I think there was only a couple of points in each game. It was a real tough series. Never played against anybody as hard as that in my life. They really meant every hit. I can tell you that for nothing. It was just total elation when that whistle went, and I just can't describe it. You're just on a different planet. It was incredible. Something that can never be repeated. I mean, I've got a daughter, and you know, that's a really nice feeling when they're born. But that is on a different level. It sounds really bad.
It doesn't. When you look back at that achievement, then what do you reflect on about it?
I think as I've got older, I've realised what an achievement it actually was, rather than at the time. I suppose we just thought it would happen every time they went on tour, they'd win. But everything just fell into place on that tour. I don't think you're ever going to find another team to do that on its first outgoing, you know what I mean? It was incredible.
Yeah. It was an incredible achievement, and one that is in history, that obviously this story we've got to tell. So when we look now at what you achieved in that 1996, what would you want to say to the generation now who are playing rugby league, and obviously this Super League, and then the future generation, about everything that you put into it to get to where you get to? What would you want to say to them now?
Oh, I think we've just opened the pathway for them. Now it's televised, which never was before. We did get the promise of Sky Sports to follow us, but I don't think they gave us a chance to win it, so they didn't bother coming. But nowadays, you know, there's more money in it for women, and now they're attached to the Super League men's teams. That just opens all the doors for them now. You know, the sky is the limit for women to play rugby league. Really.
It is.
Everything before. We had to club together just for the minibus petrol, you know, all that kind of stuff. But now they've got a bit of backing behind them. So anything is achievable. Anything.
Thank you. And what about this project? And obviously this recognition for these lionesses who have all the work and things that you did to build up to that. What's your thoughts on the project and you lionesses getting the recognition you deserve?
I think it'd be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, it's come to light since the birth of my daughter. I'd like her to realise that I'm not just this crazy mama that dances around all the time. I actually did something which were pretty cool once. You know, it's just great to get some recognition for it. We should have had it back then. We did get recognised, and we got to the Sportswomen of the Year awards. Came second, but then again, that's a rugby league down south. They don't go together really. It's rugby union. I think if it had been a rugby union team at the time, I think they'd have probably won it. But it was just nice to be invited down there and to spend a night with all of the sportswomen. But that was the only recognition we got. We didn't get anything else. So it would be nice to finally get a mention. Yeah,
and for the great achievement. So thank you, Joanne, for your memories and for sharing with us about that historic tour and your life in rugby league, which I know that's a whole other project for me, about the Wakefield Panthers and their dominance for nearly 10 years in the 1990s and early 2000. It was a phenomenal team with great leadership. So thank you for your time, and we hope you'll sort of stay in touch with the project and keep a bit involved and inspire the next generation.
I would certainly love to. Thank you very much.